Okay. All right, so I have the login test case, right? Test cases folder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new test case, which is a dealer login. Okay. Now we all know the steps, so I'm not gonna worry about much, but dealer user login test case, I'm just going to name it. Now, instead of capturing the recording, okay, I don't want to record. I don't want to use a recording plane. Okay. So let's come back with the steps here. So this is super user. I'm just going to put the dealer user. Okay, so what are my steps? Open browser. This thing is displayed, right? This part will change to G training and training. Then login. And instead of the super user homepage, what I can verify.
Dealer homepage.
Now, is that unique for dealer user? Can any other user see that?
Super
Super user will also have that, right? So let's say we want to verify that calculator link is displayed or button is displayed, whatever it is, right? Calculator link is displayed. Now at this point, I'm not going to use anything, any record or play. Assume record or play is not available. But how would you do it? Right? So let me just show you. I think it's no brainer now. Hopefully you guys know the steps, right? So what is our first step? Open a browser, right? So what I'm going to do is I have empty. So I'm just going to click on it. Okay, item. Looks like I have something open. Okay. So here there are add steps here, right? So I'm just going to add a bunch of steps here, assuming it's 7 steps. Okay. So first logical step at this point is open browser. So I'm going to select from the keyword open browser. Okay, so I'm going to select that. Second one is navigate. So again, I'm going to select, double click it, right? Until you see the drop down and go to the navigate. Okay, navigate to URL. Okay, what is my logical step? What is the third step?
Login.
Login. Is that what you are doing? Or you are setting the text in the username and password, right? So here set text. So I'm going to find set text. So this is for the username. Again, same thing I need to do for set for password. So I'm going to select set text. Let's go in here and what is a login? So what I need to do on the login? Click, right? So I'm going to click on it. And now once I'm on the home page, I need to do what? I need to do verify. Remember, you are verifying. This is a dealer homepage, right? So I need to say verify. So you can find verify here. And what is that verifying? You are verifying the attribute value text. Verify element text. Okay. I don't need 7 and 8 step, right? So I'm going to delete out last 2 steps. Okay, so at this point, I'm good, right? So now open browser null, which is good because I'm just opening. There is no data input. Navigate to URL. Okay, what is my input?
Global.
Okay, so I'm gonna go double click the, and then select value type as global variable. Select the value as outflow URL, right? Okay, good. You guys are getting it. Now set text. So here it's a null. Now I need to select the proper object because everything is there. Now I'm just creating something from scratch. So I'll open the repository, come here, select username, click OK. And whatever text you are entering, which is G training. So again, I will come here, G training. Okay. So now I'm everything creating from scratch. Again, homepage, password. Right? It's no brainer, right? I mean, you should training. This one is click. Again, I go to the home page, log in, select the object. And I don't need to supply anything because it's just a click. Now verify element text. Okay, what object would you select?
The calculator.
Okay, so that's on the dealer homepage. You have the calculator. Now assume you are not verifying the calculator. You have a second link you are verifying, which is let's see what else we have. Okay, I want to create like enter app data instead of calculator. What would I do? I don't have it here. It's not in the repository, right? So how do we go about it? Because I want to record it, I'm creating everything from there. So that is where, if you don't have something and you want to capture in the repository, that's where your object spy comes in the play. Okay, it's like a spy, it's like a James Bond. It knows everything. That's what it does. And so let me see how we can use it. So it's an object spy. I'm going to click on it. And it will say, tell me the URL, what you want to spy on, what website. So I'll say Katalon Azure websites.net. And it will have a start button. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, it will leave this window open. So now anywhere I go, see it's highlighted. So if you want to click something or basically that's what you will capture. But here I'm going to just log in G training because I want to get to that page. Login. Now what I want is I want this app enter app data. So I'm going to right click on it. Again, capture object. Okay, so it will capture that information, this thing, and it will create it under this folder in the repository. Okay, so we'll just simply do that, and then we'll move this object around under appropriate folder. Okay, so I'll say select this and say click on save. Okay, this is where you will click on save, and then it will pop up basically where you want to save this guy. So it will create under page folder, page directory, and save it, and then we'll move it later on. Okay, so at this point it's saved. I'm going to close my object spy, and I'll come here, and it's here, enter app data. So now I'll move under dealer. So I'll just simply move under dealer. Okay, and I'll delete this folder because it's not needed. So now I have this object captured. So all I have to do is just come back here, refer to that object, and be done with it. Okay, verify enter app data. Now what are we missing? When you say verify element text, you selected the object and you have to specify what text you want to verify. That's the value. So here, so let's see what we have, enter app data. So this is what I will type in. Okay, so it will check for this text. So at this point, my manually created test case is done. And see if I run it, See if it works end to end. Okay, so something went wrong with that object. So let's see what's wrong. Because it's not able to verify it. So we'll see what's wrong. Takes about 30 seconds before it stops. Oh, did it go green or what? Oh, I didn't know what. Okay, so we did not do close the browser, right? So again, it's all good. It is there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, give a second. So here you have web UI keyword, mobile keyword, right? All this thing, but we are working with the web, so we're gonna use web UI keyword for the step. So here we have to just say close browser. That's all. Yep. Close browser doesn't take anything, it's just a simple step. So I'll save it, and hopefully this time it will be very quick. Okay, so it closed out and it passed, which is a good thing, right? Okay, so this is how you can update. If something is missing in your step, or if you have to change it, this is how you can change use the object spy, right? Capture the new elements on the same page, and you organize it and then refer in your steps. Let's say they update one of the page, right? And you have new elements. This is how you can capture it and update your test cases. This is most common scenario. Okay. So that's one thing. Now let's talk about one more item, and I'll let you guys work through a couple of test cases. Okay, so we are, I think all of you did the load calculator one, right? This is login, sorry, this is log one. Okay, so valid loan amount. So I'm opening up that again. Now, sometimes what you have to do is the values. You might have to run, you have a same test case, right? But loan calculator function, if you really want to verify it, you might send maybe 1,000, maybe send value of 2,000, maybe send value of 3,000, and see if you are getting the consistent results from the calculator, right? So you can do a couple of ways. You can record multiple test cases, valid amount 1,000, valid amount 3,000, valid amount 5,000, and have it. Or you can do a better way. You create a data file. So that's where we come into use the data files here, where we can have this data values, list of values. We record the test ones, and then we supply the list of values to our test case. So let me come here to the data files, and let's see how we can do that. So what I'm going to do is I will do new test data. This is where you can create your test data. And let me open that up, and let me call it as a loan calc input data. Okay, I'm just calling it, give some name. Now your data files can be Excel, CSV, It could come from the database or simply internal data. Internal data meaning the data will be stored within your Katalon. Excel meaning you can store the data in Excel and read it. You guys are familiar with the CSV file? Comma separated values. Let me just show you example, see if I have it. I think I have one CSV example. So valid data, this is my open with Notepad. This is what the CSV file will look like. It's a comma separated values. So first row is a header, and then I have 1000, 2000, 1500. Then so first column loan amount is 1000, 2000, 1500. Second column will include monthly payment. This is CSV. I can have 1000 values, and it doesn't matter depending on what you want to test. Okay, so this is CSV. But let's use the internal data for now for our testing. Okay, so I'm going to use internal data, click OK. And what I'm going to do is, it has two parts. One is add column, second one is add row. So obviously you need to have rows, right? So check it here. So we have this loan amount and monthly payment. Let's say we want to supply 1000, 2000, 3000, and at the same time we want to get different results. So the way we can do it is, I'm going to add two columns here. Loan amount. Second column would be monthly payment. Okay. So I have created two columns, two data columns. Then I'll add few rows here. So I'm going to add three rows. 1000. What I'm expecting is $30. 2000. It's just like Excel, right? I'm just creating something like Excel. $60. 3000. $90. Right? $90. Something like that. I'm going to save this data file. Okay, so my data file is ready. Now I need to read these values and hook up with my test case. So I'll go back to my test case here. So in my test case, I have these two variables. Right now they are reading this value from they have default values, but I don't want to use that. I want to read it from the file now that I just created. Okay, so that's where you go to the data binding section. So you have 1, 2, 3 tabs, right? We talked about. And I'll go to the data binding. And this is where I will read from the data section that I just have. So test data, I need to point to this loan calc input data, right? So I'll click on add. And I'll select the loan calculator input data as my input. Okay. Now, what I'm doing is, so first I refer to the file, right? The second step, I need to map the data values. So I have these two variables. I need to map it with the columns that I have created in the input. So which variable will populate from which column of this data? As long as you have the same names in the variable. So let's come back here. So my variable names are monthly payment, loan amount, right? In the data, I have loan amount and monthly payment, right? Both are same. Okay. So if I come here, and if they map all, it will automatically map the variable with the column names. Okay. So let's see what happens. So keep an eye on here. So when I do map all, it says found two matches. And click OK. And it will automatically hook up with your loan data, input data with whatever column names. Okay. So at this point, my mapping is done. Okay. And let's come back here And now if I execute it, and let's see what happens. If everything is hooked up correctly, then it should run 3 times, same test case with 3 different values. 1000, 2000, and 3000. Okay, so first one is 1000. So now it's starting the second one. Okay, and it should have 2000. Okay, and then it will go to the third one. If you have 500 value, doesn't matter, it will repeat 500 times with the different values.
Every time it logs in.
Yeah, because it first test case is done. Whatever it verifies the value and is done, then it will kick off the second one with the second set of values. So, okay, something is wrong. Oh, you know what? I might have empty column. This is the fourth one. Okay, that's the reason it ran 4 times. So I need to delete it out. Right, make sure you save it. Now it will run only 3 times. Let me just quickly run it. It doesn't take much time to make sure that is the case. So I guess it takes about 10 seconds for one test case. Okay. Yep, so it's stopped at 3, right? Because we had 3 data values here, and it read from the data values that we supplied. Okay, so let me recap what we did, right? So for the dealer user login, right? We did not use anything, but we created it manually from the scratch, right? And as part of that, we used the object spy to capture new element and created the step. Everything we created from scratch, right? We did not record it, anything. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second part, second thing, what we did is different test case. We actually automated. We actually automated loan calculator, but we had the variables which we tie to the data values or some file basically or in-memory data sets. So we can just update the data set and execute multiple times, same test case. Okay. Now, as part of that, what we did is we use the data binding feature. Okay. So in the data binding, I added a reference to that file, right? And then I did map all to map out as long as your variable names are same as the data columns, then it will automatically map the values. And then you save it and then you run it. So those 3 things happen here. Okay. Now, in order to do, you have to have variables. Okay. You have to have variables in order to map it here. If you have hard-coded values, let's say you have hard-coded values. What I mean by that is, if you did not create the variables here originally, then you have to create the variables first. Okay, and then you have to do the data binding. I think most of you have variables. Is that correct? But if you had, let's say, hard-coded values, meaning 1000 here, right? Then this one you have to convert to the variable first. Okay, whatever way you need to convert to the variable, you have to create the variables and then do the data binding afterwards. Okay. Any question on these 2 items? I guess I'll let you guys do it so that see if you how much you remember, right? So let's do the, I would suggest you guys work on the this loan calculator one, because that's more important. Other one, you can do it at home if you get time, right? But definitely work through a home, okay? Creating manually, basically. It is recorded steps wise, so hopefully you can follow through, otherwise at home. But definitely do this, loan calculator one, create a data file first. Create this data file first with the same name as variables. Okay. Create a data file with the same name as variables, and then hook them up with the loan amount test case. Let's work on that one. Any question? Anybody online or anything? Okay, looks like no question.